Hello students, welcome to your channel. Please like, share and subscribe your own channel, School Studies. School Studies is pleased to announce the launch of our educational website, Patel Section. After years of hard work and dedication, we are delighted to officially announce the launch. Our goal with this website is to provide our students with an easier way to assess NCERT Solutions, GSEB Solution, Kids Zone and General Knowledge courses and quiz. Do visit our website for more details. Today we will see a video related to NCERT Solution for class 10th English, chapter 4 from the diary of Annie Frank. Let's solve the textbook exercise. The first activity, that is on page number 49. Do you keep a diary? Given below under A are some terms we use to describe a written record of personal experience. Can you match them with their descriptions under B? You may look up the terms in a dictionary if you wish. So these are the terms which we use to write a written document, and these are the descriptions. We have to match this. So first is journal. So a full record of a journey, a period of time or an event written every day. Diary, a book with a separate space or page for each day in which you write down your thoughts and feelings or what has happened on that day. Log, a written record of events with times and dates, usually official. Memoirs, records of a person's own life and experience, usually a famous person. Next, here are some entries from personal records. Use the definitions about to decide which of the entries might be from a diary, a journal, a log or a memoir. I woke up very late today and promptly got a scolding from mom. I can't help it. How can I miss the FIFA World Cup matches? This is a diary note. 10:30 a.m. went to the office of the director. 1 p.m. had a lunch with chairman. 5:45 p.m. received Rahul at the airport. 9:30 p.m. dinner at home. This is the log. Ride to Uti was uneventful. We rested for a while every 50 kilometers or so and used the time to capture the magnificent landscape with my handy cam. From Uti we went on to a Bangalore. What a contrast. The noise and the pollution of this once beautiful city really broke my heart. This is a journal written. This is how Raj Kapoor found me, all wet and ragged outside RK Studios. He was then looking for just someone like this for a small role in Mera Naam Joker, and he cast me on the spot. The rest, as they say, is history. This is memoir. Next is the oral comprehension check. This is on page number 51 of your textbook. First question in that is, what makes writing a diary a strange experience of Annie Frank? Writing a diary was a strange experience of Annie Frank because she had never written anything before in a diary and she had received it as a gift on her 13th birthday. She considered the diary to be her best friend where she could write all her thoughts and feelings. However, she also felt that no one would be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Hence, she could write freely in the diary to get all the worries off her chest. Next, why does Annie want to keep a diary? Annie wanted to always feel lonely and upset as she had no friends. She wanted to get all the burden and worries off her chest. Hence, she decided to keep a diary in which she could confide her secrets and treat it as a true friend. Next, why did Annie think she could confide more in her diary than in people? Annie had a strong feeling that paper had more patience than people to listen to her mental state. it wishes that she had in her mind in a diary. Hence, to confine her secret, she felt her personal diary was the best companion, and it was also not meant for anyone else to read. Next, why does Annie provide a brief sketch of her life? Annie provided a brief sketch of her life because she wanted to describe her family, school, and herself. By reading her diary, it could help the reader to develop some sort of connection with her and all the activities that were happening around her at that time. Why does Annie provide a brief sketch? What tells you that Annie loved her grandmother? Annie lived at Aachen with her grandmother while her parents settled down in Holland. She was extremely close to her grandmother and wrote about her in her diary. However, when her grandmother died in January 1942, she said, "No one knows how often I think of her and still love her." She wanted to convey through this message how dearly she loved her grandmother. On her 13th birthday, she lighted up one candle along with the rest to express her love and gratitude for her beloved grandmother. Next, why was Mr. Kinsing annoyed with Annie? What did he ask her to do? Mr. Kinsey was annoyed with Annie because she was a very talkative girl. He often punished her by assigning her extra homework to write essays on topics that were related to her nature in order to keep her silent. How did Annie justify her being a chatterbox in her essay? Annie justified her being a chatterbox in her essay by clearly pointing out that she had inherited it from her mother, who was also as talkative as her or even more. She also stated that nobody could do anything about such inherited traits. Next, do you think Mr. Kinsey was a strict teacher? No, Mr. Kinson was not a rigidly strict teacher, but he expected his class to maintain silence and discipline while he was imparting his lecture to the class. As a matter of fact, a teacher always thinks about the welfare of his students. Any teacher will be annoyed if the children keeps on talking during the class. Mr. Kinson was annoyed with Annie because she was very talkative. So to punish her, he would give her to do extra homework and often told her to write essays on her talkative nature. Besides, it should be noted that had he been strict, then he would not have laughed at Annie's funny arguments. What made Mr. Kinson allow Annie to talk in class? Annie's last essay entitled "Quack, Quack, Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox in the form of a poem showed Mr. Kinson the lighter side of Annie. He was impressed with the way she presented her argument in a rhythmic manner. It helped it in bridging the gap between Mr. Kinson and Annie, and thereafter she was never assigned extra homework by him. Was Annie right when she said that the world will not be interested in the musing of a 13-year-old girl? It is a human tendency that kids are often not considered seriously by elders. Being a 13-year-old girl, Annie thought that most people don't want to give importance to a child's perspective towards the world because they think children are too immature to talk about worldly matters. However, Annie Frank's diary was popular among the masses and was translated in different languages, and she became one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. Next, there are some examples of diary or journal entries in the before you read section. Compare this with that Annie writes in her diary. What language was the diary originally written in? In what way is Annie's diary different? Annie's diary was originally written in Dutch. It was different from other diaries entries in several aspects and from most of the examples given before the text. She had named her diary as Kitty. She wrote in an informal tone which exuded the carefree nature of a teenager. She confined her feelings and secrets on it as she considered her diary to be her best friend. She wrote a lot of personal events and memories in her diary, which made it different from other diaries. Next, why does Annie need to give a brief sketch about her family? Does she treat Kitty as an insider or an outsider? Annie gave a brief introduction of her family in the diary because she felt that it was hard to make others realize that a teenager like her could write about loneliness and all the events happening around her in a mature manner. She talked about her adorable father, compensate, compassionate mother, beloved grandmother, and loving elder sister in her diary, Kitty. Kitty was gifted to her by her parents on her 13th birthday, and she considered it as her best friend and treated it as an insider as she could confine all her feelings and emotions by writing on it. Next, how does Annie feel about her father, her grandmother, Mrs. Cooperus, and Mr. Kinsing? What does this tell you about her? Annie had found of memories of her adorable father, her grandmother, Mrs. Coopers, and Mr. Kinsing, her math teacher, who had left indelible and lasting impression on her mind and had a major impact in her life. The way she wrote about all of them in her diary revealed that Annie was very attached to each of these people and was quite good at understanding people. She had developed an everlasting bond and wonderful interpersonal relation with each of them. What does Annie write in her first essay? Mr. Kinson has asked Annie to write an essay on the topic a chatterbox as a punishment for her talkative nature. In the essay, she wrote about the effects of being talkative and also argued that she had inherited it from her mother, who was also very talkative. She justified this by saying that nobody could do anything about inherited traits. It was therefore difficult to give up a habit so easily, and it also formed a part of students' hate. Reading this, Mr. Kinson also had a hearty laugh at the argument given by Annie. Annie says teachers are most unpredictable. Is Mr. Kinson's unpredictable? How? Miss Annie cited the perfect example of Mr. Kinson as an unpredictable teacher because she felt that Mr. Kinson was indifferent towards her behavior, who always rebuked her for her talkative nature. Although initially he punished her by assigning extra homework, after reading her essay, he enjoyed a good laugh and thereafter never gave her such punishment and allowed Annie to talk in the class. Next, what do these statements tell you about Annie Frank as a person? We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. This line inhabits that Annie did not have any close friend with whom she could confide her secrets. Therefore, she blamed herself for her reserved nature. I don't want to jot down the fact in this diary the way most people would, but I want the diary to be my friend. This line implies that Annie considered her diary Kitty to be her best friend and wrote all her emotions and secrets on it rather than simply jotting down facts like other people do. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in Feb, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Marot. This statement implies that humorous nature of Annie. She had a witty personality and wrote the line in a funny tone. The words plunked down exhibit her sense of humor. Next, what does this statement tell you about Annie Frank as a person? If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of a class should be kept back, but teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on other. This line implies that Annie thought that a quarter of class are dumbheads, and she was intelligent enough to make it to the next class. She called the teacher as the most unpredictable creatures on earth because it was quite uncertain who will fail or pass and make it to the next grade. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. This statement implies that Annie was talking about writing. She was given extra homework to write essays by Mr. Kinson as a punishment for her talkative nature. Although that was extra work for her, but she wanted to do it in full vigor. She did not want to leave big spaces between the words to make the essay look voluminous. She wanted to write convincing arguments to prove the essence of talking. That way her approach to writing was different from others. Thinking about language on page number 55 and 58. So look at the following words. These are the words. These words are compound words. They are made up of two or more words. Compound words can be nouns such as mistress, homework, notebook, outburst. Adjectives such as long awaited, stiff backed. Verbs such as sleepwalk, babysit. So we have to match it. So heartbreaking, obeying and respecting the law. Homesick, think about pleasant things, forgetting about the present. So these are the A side and the B side. We have to match it. So let's find the answer. The heartbreaking is producing great sadness. Homesick, missing home and family very much. Blockhead, an informal word which means a very stupid person. Law abiding, obeying and respecting the law. Overdo, do something to an excessive degree. Daydream, think about pleasant things, forgetting about present. Breakdown, an occasion when vehicles, machines stop working. Output, something produced by person, machine or organization. Next, this is a phrasal verbs. A phrasal verb is a verb followed by the preposition or an adverb. Its meaning is often different from the meanings of its part. Compare the meanings of verb get on and run away in A and B below. You can easily guess their meanings in A, but in B they are special meaning. So A, she got on at Agra when the bus stopped for breakfast. Dev Anand ran away from home when he was a teenager. She's eager to get on in life, succeed. The visitor ran away with the match, won easily. Some phrasal verbs have three parts, a verb followed by the adverb and a preposition. Our car ran out of petrol but outside the city limits. The government wants to reach out to the people with this new companion. The text you have just read has a number of phrasal verbs commonly used in English. Look up the following in a dictionary for their meaning. Under the entry for the italicized verb. Plunge, right in. Ramble on, kept back, get along with. So these are the phrasal verbs and their meaning. So plunge in, go straight to the topic. Kept back, not promoted. Move up, go to the next grade. Ramble on, speak or write about without focus. Get along with, have a good relationship with. Calm down, make remain quiet. Stay in, stay indoors. Make up for, compensate. Hand in, give an assignment to a person in authority. So these are the sentences which are made as per the textbook. Now idioms. So idioms are group of words with a fixed order and a particular meaning different from the meanings of each of their words put together. For example, do you know what it means to meet one's match in English? It means to meet someone who is as good as oneself or even better in some skill or quality. Do you know what it means to let the cat out of the bag? Can you guess? Here are some few sentences from the text which has idiomatic expressions. So our entire class is quacking in its boots, shaking with fear and nervousness. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart, not to lose hope or expectations. Mr. Kinson was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much for a long time. Mr. Kinson was trying to play a joke on me with its this ridiculous subject, but I had make sure the joke was on him. He was outwitted by her. So here are few more idiomatic expression that occur in the text. Try to use them in sentences of your own. So these are the some idioms that we have used in the sentences. These are the sentences which I have made. You can make your own sentences. So break somebody's heart, to hurt or upset someone deeply. This is the sentence. It is never a good idea to break someone's heart. Close or dear to heart, someone close to you. My best friend is very close to my heart. From the bottom of your heart. From the bottom of your heart means feeling for someone genuinely. I love my parents from bottom of my heart. Have a heart, to evoke feeling and help someone in pain. This is the sentence which I have made. The beggar on the roadside asked the shopkeeper to have a heart and give him some food to eat. Have a heart of stone, a person with no feelings or sentiments. The man beat up the beggar on the road as he has a heart of stone. Your heart goes out to somebody, to sympathize with somebody. The heart goes out of the little boy who lost his parents in the air crash. Next is contracted forms. When we speak, we use contracted form or short forms such as this: can't for cannot or cannot. I had, I would or I had. She's the she is. Notice that contracted forms are also written with the apostrophe to form a shortening of the spellings of not, would or is, as in the above examples. Writing a diary is like speaking to oneself. Plays also have speech in written forms, so we usually come across contracted forms in diaries, plays and novels. Make a list of contracted forms in the text. Rewrite them as full forms of two words. So I have, I have. I had or I would. So these are the contracted forms and the full forms of this. So this was chapter 4 of NCERT Solution for class 10th English. I hope you like my video. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you. Please leave comment, question or doubts in comment section if you have any, or you can drop a mail to us. You will find my email ID at the end of this video. You can also join us on Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, connect us on LinkedIn or tweet us on Twitter. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you.